Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. I never thought it would happen to me. You know those stories, the ones people whisper about but never dare to admit out loud? I used to think they were just fiction, cautionary tales to warn the curious. But life has a cruel way of blurring the lines between right and wrong, between what we desire and what we're allowed to have. My name is Lila. 35, married for 7 years, and lately, painfully aware of how cold my bed has become. My husband, Eric, is everything on paper, successful, dependable, but somewhere along the years, he stopped seeing me. His business trip stretched from days to weeks. The "I miss you" texts became routine, not heartfelt. We had grown apart quietly, like strangers living in the same house, orbiting each other but never colliding. And then there was Jason. His son. My stepson. 22. Confident but kind, with a quiet storm behind those intense gray eyes. He moved in with us temporarily, just until he could get on his feet after college. I told myself it was no big deal. Families do this. But something shifted the moment Eric left for his latest trip. The walls that once separated our roles, wife and stepson, started to crumble under the weight of something unspoken. It began with long conversations over midnight coffee, our voices barely above whispers, like we were sharing secrets the world wasn't supposed to hear. We laughed about little things, shared playlists, swapped stories of loneliness, and I saw it, the way he looked at me. Not like a son. Not like I was off limits. And God help me, I didn't look away. There's a dangerous kind of comfort in being seen, especially when you felt invisible for so long. I kept telling myself I could handle it, that I could pull away in time. But Jason wasn't just staying in our house, he was staying in my life, creeping into the hollow spaces my husband used to fill. One rainy night, after a movie marathon and too many glasses of wine, I stood at the threshold of his room. The air between us was thick, charged with everything we weren't supposed to say. His door was slightly open. His bed was empty. And when I turned around, he was standing right behind me, barefoot, vulnerable, but with eyes that dared me to cross a line we both knew we could never uncross. My heart hammered in my chest. I should have walked away. But then, he softly said, "Lila, you don't have to be lonely tonight." I opened my mouth to speak, but the sound of my husband's ringtone suddenly echoed through the hallway. He was calling me. Jason's gaze didn't break. And I was frozen, caught between the voice I'd promised to love and the man who finally made me feel wanted. My hand trembled as I reached for the phone, Eric's name glowing on the screen like some sharp reminder of the life I was supposed to be living. I answered, forcing steadiness into my voice. "Hey, babe," I said, swallowing the tight knot in my throat. Jason stood just a breath away, his presence wrapping around me like a heat I couldn't escape. Eric's voice crackled through the speaker. "Just wanted to hear your voice before I board. You okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine," I lied, my eyes flicking to Jason, who didn't move, didn't flinch. His gaze pinned me there, as if asking, "Are you really fine?" I turned away, desperate for some distance. "Get some rest, okay? I'll talk to you when you land. Love you, Lila." The words lingered in the silence, waiting for me to answer. I hesitated a heartbeat too long. "Love you too," I whispered, but my voice faltered. The call ended, but the moment didn't. Jason's soft footsteps followed me as I moved to the kitchen, pretending to busy my hands with dishes that didn't need washing. The silence between us had weight now, filled with all the things we weren't saying. "Do you think he knows?" Jason asked, his voice low, roughened by something I couldn't name. I spun to face him, water dripping from my fingertips. "There's nothing to know." Jason tilted his head, studying me like I was some puzzle he was just starting to figure out. "Isn't there? You're lonely, Lila. And I see you." He doesn't. Not anymore. His words splintered something inside me. When had I started needing to hear this from him? When did I begin measuring my worth through the eyes of someone I wasn't supposed to want? I looked down at my wedding band, twisting it absent-mindedly. You don't understand what this could destroy. Jason stepped closer, his voice softer now, like a secret. Maybe what's already broken doesn't need to be protected. His nearness made my breath shallow. The lines between guilt and longing blurred as I fought the pull I felt toward him. We can't, I whispered, but my conviction was fraying. He just looked at me, not pushing, not rushing, just waiting. Waiting for me to decide which life I was going to live. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the house, every soft patter of rain against the windows, pulled me back into the moment I'd been trying to escape. I could still feel Jason's nearness, his words brushing against the edge of my thoughts like a slow, persistent tide. I told myself it was a lapse, a heat-of-the-moment weakness. But it wasn't going away. The next morning, the house felt quieter than usual, like it was holding its breath. I found Jason in the living room, headphones in, lost in his music, but his eyes flickered toward me as I passed by. It wasn't casual anymore. There was a pulse between us now, an unspoken thread neither of us had cut. I busied myself with routine. Laundry, dishes, replying to Eric's texts. He sent photos from his hotel room, smiling, distant, a life continuing somewhere I didn't belong. Miss you already, he texted. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the keyboard. I typed, miss you too, but I didn't hit send. I just watched the blinking cursor as my heart thudded in my chest. Jason's voice pulled me out of it. You didn't send it. I spun around, startled. He was behind me again, quiet, always too close. You were watching me? I asked, more breathless than I meant to sound. He shrugged, but his eyes burned with quiet intensity. I watch you a lot. There it was again. That thin line we kept towing. His words sounded innocent enough, but his meaning wasn't. Jason. I started, but I didn't know what I was warning him, or myself, against. He softened his voice. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I hate seeing you like this. Acting like everything's fine when you're falling apart inside. His honesty undid me in ways my husband's affection hadn't for years. That afternoon, I drove to the grocery store, desperate for air. But even there, my mind stayed tangled in Jason's words. I saw couples shopping together, smiling, touching, present, and the ache inside me deepened. I caught myself reaching for Eric's favorite brand of coffee, then slowly setting it back down. He wouldn't be home for another week. Maybe longer. His trips always seemed to stretch these days. Back at home, Jason had made dinner. He wasn't supposed to know my favorite meal, but somehow, he did. The table was set, candles low, the soft hum of jazz playing from his phone. It's just dinner, he said, but we both knew it wasn't just anything anymore. As we ate, our fingers brushed when reaching for the same dish. We didn't pull away this time. We just let the moment sit there, dangerous, electric, undeniably real. Later that night, I stood in front of my mirror, brushing my hair, thinking about the woman I used to be. The woman Eric used to see. Somewhere along the years, she had faded. But Jason, he saw her now. And as I looked at my reflection, I realized the question wasn't whether I would betray Eric. The question was whether I already had. The days blurred together after that dinner, quiet, heavy, filled with moments that lingered longer than they should. I kept moving like life was normal, but it wasn't. I knew it every time I caught Jason's gaze lingering just a little too long, every time his shoulder brushed mine in the narrow hallway, every time I found a reason to stay in the same room just a little longer. I told myself I could still pull back, that I was in control. But I wasn't. One evening, just before sunset, I found Jason on the back porch, staring out at the rain-soaked yard. His hair was damp, his hoodie clinging to his frame, his hands buried deep in his pockets like he was holding something in. You've been quiet, I said softly. He didn't turn around. So have you. I stepped closer, the damp wood creaking beneath my bare feet. It's complicated. Jason's laugh was low, bitter. Yeah. Complicated's just another word for trapped, isn't it? His honesty sliced through me, more brutal than anything I'd allowed myself to admit. I'm not trapped, I whispered, but even I didn't believe it. Finally, he turned to face me, and there was something raw in his expression, a mix of wanting, frustration, and something like grief. Why are you still waiting for him to see you? He's gone, Lila. Even when he's here, he's gone. Tears stung my eyes, but I didn't look away. I made vows, Jason. His chest rose and fell, uneven. So did he. But you're still sleeping alone. The weight of his words cracked something inside me, the part that had been clinging to what was left of my marriage like a life raft already half sunk. Jason's hand reached for mine, hesitant, trembling. And this time, I didn't pull away. Our fingers laced together, grounding us in this moment that felt dangerously like the edge of something we couldn't step back from. You deserve to be wanted, he said, his voice breaking with the weight of it. I felt the tears slide down my cheek as I whispered, I know. The air thickened between us, rain falling softly around the porch as if the world had gone still to watch us fall apart. Then my phone buzzed. Eric. Incoming call, husband. I didn't move to answer. Jason didn't let go. And for the first time, I didn't want him to. I don't know how long the phone buzzed. It felt like forever, his name glowing on the screen, sharp, insistent, a reminder of the life I was supposed to answer to. But I didn't move. I couldn't. My hand was in Jason's, and the warmth of it, the way his thumb gently traced slow circles against my skin, it anchored me to something I wasn't ready to let go of. Lila, Jason whispered, his voice barely holding steady, just tell me. Do you want me to let you go? The rain tapped against the porch roof like a soft drumbeat, urging me to decide. I should have said yes. I should have said please let me go, but instead, I stood there in the middle of this crumbling line between right and wrong, unable to answer him. My throat tightened. I don't know how to stop this. His hand tightened around mine, just slightly, like he was scared I might pull away. Maybe we're not supposed to. Tears blurred my vision as I looked at him, this young man who wasn't supposed to be anything more than family, who now felt closer than the husband who kept forgetting what my laugh sounded like. Do you think about it? I asked, my voice trembling. What would happen if we crossed that line? Jason's breath caught. His answer was soft, but the weight of it knocked the air from my lungs. I think about it all the time. The raw honesty between us cracked something wide open. I can't, I choked on the words. I can't be who you want me to be. His eyes didn't waver. I just want you to be who you really are. Even if it's just here, even if it's just with me. The phone buzzed again, louder this time, as if trying to pull me back. Jason's other hand came up, brushing a tear from my cheek, his thumb lingering at the edge of my jaw. Tell me to stop, he whispered, his breath so close I could feel the tremble of it. Please, just tell me to stop, and I will. But I didn't. I couldn't. And in that aching silence, where I should have stepped back, I leaned into him instead. Jason's touch lingered on my skin like a secret I couldn't scrub away. My breathing faltered as I leaned into him, so close, too close, and for a heartbeat, I forgot the life waiting on the other end of that buzzing phone. I forgot about promises, distance, titles. It was just his hand in mine, his thumb at my jaw, and the weight of every lonely night pressing against my ribs. But before our lips could meet, the front door creaked open. I froze. Jason stepped back, his hand falling away like it burned him. Hello, came a familiar voice, one that shouldn't have been there. Eric. His bag hit the floor with a dull thud, his keys jingling as he tossed them on the console table. Surprise, babe. Early flight. Figured I'd come home a few days sooner. Missed you. The hallway swallowed his voice as I scrambled to wipe my face, my pulse racing so hard I thought I might faint. Jason backed away, his gray eyes wide, his chest rising and falling like he'd just sprinted a mile. I spun toward him, my voice sharp but frantic. Go, upstairs. Now. His jaw clenched, but he obeyed, disappearing up the staircase just as Eric's footsteps approached the porch. When Eric appeared in the doorway, his face lit up with the kind of soft, easy smile I hadn't seen in months. "Hey, you okay? You look flushed." I forced a laugh, my hands trembling as I tucked my hair behind my ear. "Yeah. Just, didn't expect you." He stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me. His scent, familiar, distant, wrapped around me like a coat I hadn't worn in years. His lips brushed my forehead. "You've been on my mind a lot lately. Thought maybe we could start over a little." The weight of his affection hit me like a slow collapse. Start over? Now? When I'd been on the edge of falling for someone else? I swallowed the rising panic and nodded, my words sticky in my throat. "Yeah. I'd like that." But the twist sank in deeper when Eric pulled back, reaching into his jacket pocket. "Oh, by the way, I got a call earlier today. Jason's mom reached out." The air thinned around me. "She's coming to town. Says she needs to talk. Something, about Jason. About us." My stomach dropped. He grinned, oblivious to the storm I was drowning in. "Funny timing, huh?" I managed a smile, but my heart was racing. I wasn't sure what she knew. I wasn't sure what she would say. But I knew one thing for certain, things weren't just complicated anymore. They were about to unravel. The next morning arrived too quickly, the weight of last night pressing on my chest like I'd slept under a mountain. Eric hummed in the kitchen, cooking breakfast as if he hadn't come home to a house on the verge of collapse. Jason hadn't come downstairs. He'd stayed away from me, silent, distant, like the night on the porch had burned us both. But we didn't have time to stay apart. Eric's phone rang while he flipped pancakes. I watched him, numb, as he answered casually. "Hey. Yeah, we're home. Come by whenever." His expression changed as he listened. His smile faltered. His brow creased. When he hung up, his voice was quiet. "That was her. Jason's mom. She's already here. She's coming over." My pulse spiked. Did she say what she wanted? He shook his head. "Just that it's urgent. Something I should have known a long time ago." The minutes dragged like hours until she arrived, a woman with sharp eyes, the kind that had seen too much and said too little. She greeted Eric warmly, but when her gaze landed on me, something flickered there. A knowing. A wait. We sat at the table, Jason finally coming down, his face a cold mask. She didn't waste time. "I wasn't going to tell you," she began, her voice steady, "but Jason insisted you both knew. It's about his father." Eric's smile froze. "What about him?" Her eyes shifted to Jason, then to me. "Eric. Jason isn't your biological son. I never told you because I thought it didn't matter. But the truth is, his father was someone else. Someone before you." Silence detonated in the room. Eric's hand loosened on his coffee mug. "What are you talking about?" Jason's mother's gaze softened. "I loved you. I thought we could move past it. But Jason isn't yours. And you need to know that now." Jason's jaw clenched, his throat working as he looked at me, not with guilt, but with something dangerously close to hope. My heart thudded, the ground shifting under me. All this time. All the distance. The cracks in their relationship. The years of not knowing. Jason was never Eric's son. Our connection, forbidden just yesterday, now hung in the air like a fragile, terrible gift. Eric's stunned silence stretched across the room, and Jason finally whispered, "We're not family." And in that moment, I realized the line I'd been standing on had already disappeared. There was nothing left between us but choice. The truth didn't explode like I expected, it settled over us, heavy and quiet, the kind of silence that doesn't leave room for denial. Eric sat there, unmoving, as if he could hold his life together by simply not reacting. I watched his face flicker between disbelief, betrayal, and finally, exhaustion. "I need some air," he muttered, pushing away from the table and walking out the front door. He didn't look at me. He didn't look at Jason. Jason's mother sighed, her voice tender but weighted. "I'm sorry. I really thought this secret would die quietly. I didn't think it would ever matter. But it did." Jason didn't say anything. He just sat there, staring at me, waiting. And I realized, I'd been standing still for years. Waiting for someone to choose me. Waiting for permission to want more. To feel alive. But it was never about permission. It was about honesty, with myself. I stood, my hands trembling, my heart pounding louder than the rain had the night before. "I need time," I whispered to Jason, tears pricking my eyes. This changes everything. But it doesn't erase what's been broken. Or what's been real." He nodded slowly, the faintest, hopeful smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "I'll wait." Jason's mother left quietly, giving us space we didn't know how to fill. I walked to the porch where Eric stood, staring blankly at the street. He spoke first. "All this time. I thought you drifted away from me. But maybe I was the one who left first." I swallowed the lump in my throat. We've both been living a version of love that stopped fitting us. Eric's eyes glistened, but his voice stayed steady. "Do you love him?" The question hung between us like smoke. "I don't know yet," I answered truthfully. "But I know I stopped loving us a long time ago." He nodded, the corners of his mouth tightening. "Maybe it's not about who's right or wrong anymore. Maybe it's just about not lying to ourselves." For the first time in years, we saw each other clearly. When Eric left to find his own peace, I didn't chase him. Jason didn't push me. He just waited, quietly, patiently. Because sometimes the heart doesn't need permission. It needs truth. And in the end, love isn't about who arrives first. It's about who stays when everything else falls apart.